This is the River Creuse in France, Department 23. I was there last week, and I was going to try and paint it on location, but I was about to set up, and then the gardeners came in to cut the grass. You can see in the bottom right-hand side, so I had to move. So I went the other side of the village and painted the church and the bridge. So I thought I'd have a go at this in the studio because I wanted to paint this scene, but I'm not going to paint it green because I don't like green paintings, to be fair. I don't find them that inspiring. So the area we were in is called the Valley of the Painters. Monet painted in this location and lots of other Impressionists. So I'm going to try and take a bit of inspiration from their colour palettes, not necessarily their brushwork, but maybe a little bit. So let's switch to the other camera and get painting. Just to let you know what size this canvas is. This is 40 by 40. But, reasonable size. So the colours I've got here are titanium white, a lemon yellow, cadmium yellow. Got quinacridone rose, violet rouge, magenta, or quinacridone magenta, design crimson. I've got a Windsor blue, green shade, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, sap green, viridian, and turquoise. Got shadows over this side. It's shaded here, and there's light across here. So I'll stick with that because the reference is going to help me with that. But I'm going to go for maybe some cool blues over this side, and then have all the warmth over here with maybe a bit of cool blue here, and perhaps go for some warmth from the sky. So this is paint straight from the tube, so it's not particularly runny, but I didn't really want runny paint because I'm probably going to have to do a few layers. So I shall start with a bit of warmth down here. Try not to get too much paint on the canvas to start with, but it needs to be light in tone. So it does help to have a toned canvas sometimes. This is a just an ordinary canvas, and this is acrylic that I've toned it with, a bit of burnt umber and white. And I've got a bit of a drawing underneath there as well. So I think I shall move up to more of a blue as we come up the sky. But again, I've got to keep it very light in tone. Let's go more orangey. I think just got to be brave with the colour. Think Monet. How would he do it? We travel a lot in France. But we have a camper van, and we stayed here by the river overnight in the camper van, and so I get to see all the different sort of changing lights throughout the day. When this photo was taken, it was sort of midday. But it was just green, basically blue sky and green, so it wasn't particularly inspiring to paint. But in the mornings and later in the evenings, it can be more interesting. So that's kind of the colours I'm going to go for. So let's go for a change and more of a phthalo kind of blue up here. So we'll have a good combination of cool and warm colours. That's the idea. And some of this orange will come through. And I don't want to be blending, not too much anyway, just a little bit maybe. Because if I mix this blue with this red, I probably will end up with brown. So like the Impressionists did, now just lay the paint maybe over on top of what's there. I'll be going over this again at some point, I'm sure. So I'm kind of winging this, and I just I kind of have an idea what I want, but whether I achieve that is another thing. So we'll have maybe the sun has just gone down, we'll say. So let's have some light on the water here. I can look at the reference and see what's going on there. And just concentrate on painting shapes to start with. So if you want to see a little video about our travels in this area, that in the description there's a link to a video that my wife Kate made, that she took a bit of footage of our day traveling about, and put together a little video for us. So have a look at that in the description, and if you like and subscribe that channel, you'll get to see where we go in France, and perhaps it'll help you to get an idea of the areas we're painting and what else is there. So that's my sky, that's my river. So let's get some of these distant trees in. So aiming to spend about an hour doing this. So we'll see what we can get done in an hour. So anything off in the distance, I shall keep it cool, like blue there, and maybe just less detail. Maybe there's a little bit of light coming over here, so I can sort of see in the scene. The thing with that, bright colours, they're wonderful, but if you have them everywhere, they lose their effect. Darker, so I put loads of colours out here. I don't know whether I'm going to need them all, but let's get these darks in down here. This is very different to the way I normally paint. I'm going for a different approach on this one. I'm taking inspiration from Monet and all the Impressionist painters who painted in this area. I will come back to this area at some point and have a go at doing some paintings on location. But a chance to see all these colours that the photographs, they never do these things justice. So you need to go there and physically see it. I've got to be careful I don't end up with a muddy mess. But if I pay attention to tonal value, my lights and my darks, in theory, doesn't really matter what colour I use. So if the lights are in the right place and the darks are in the right place, we should be good, in theory. So more perhaps warmth and light coming across here. So this is just the first layer, and I'll be working back into this. And I've had a look at some Monet paintings up close. I went on the Google Arts and Culture website and had a look at some close-ups to see kind of what his brushwork can look like. So I'm taking inspiration from that as well. So I would normally just go for kind of what's in the scene. So doing something a little bit different is good fun. Let's go for a lot of warmth here. So nice bit of yellow. Let's actually go for mixing on the canvas. I paint half the week watercolour and half the week oils. So that's why I sometimes get confused. So as I come over with that yellow onto that blue, it's going to turn green. But effects like that happen in life, in real life. So I can take advantage of that. And get some of that red in there. So let's go real colourful with this. Now it's good exercise to do something different, because you can end up kind of just doing the same paintings all the time. And there's a lot to learn by studying other painters. But I do master studies, quite a few of those in watercolour, as a learning tool. I'm a self-taught artist. I didn't go to art school or anything like that, but I've learned to paint by painting, and that's, I think, the best way to do it. And once you've got in your head, tonal value is important. It's the main thing you need to be worrying about. There's nothing you couldn't paint, because it really is as easy as that. Get the lights in the right place, the darks in the right place, and you can't go wrong. But doing something like this, we can go wrong because it could end up a complete mess. At the moment, it's looking very colourful, but that's what I wanted. So let's try some of this Viridian. This is a colour I never use, Viridian, because it's just, I suppose, like some of the phthalo colours, it just overpowers everything. But maybe on a scene like this, it might be quite good. And a nice green down here. Obviously, it's not a very realistic green, but if we put some red into it, we'll get a real dark. But rather than use black, it'll make a more interesting dark. Dark comes through here, which gives it a bit of texture, makes it maybe look like a tree. And this is what I saw when I was looking at those Monet paintings up close. All this sort of scumbling almost, and building up layers. Just building the idea that I don't really know what this painting is going to look like as a finished painting, but I know if I get a dark against light, it'll give it power. A nice, strong, powerful painting. If I go for colour harmony, which kind of haven't really at the moment, it's like a rainbow at the moment, but I will perhaps go for more dominant colours as the painting progresses. That will also be an element that's needed to create a nice painting. Let's go for this grassy area here. So I've got Viridian there. Bit of sap green maybe, try that. It's also a chance to try some paints that I've had for years and I've not really used them. But if I keep the paint thin, it's not over. I can change my mind and paint a completely different colour scheme if I want to. When you have thick paint all over the canvas, it's very difficult to go anywhere with it. But, I can easily wipe all of that off and start again if I needed to. So it's certainly got some colour. I think I need to go lighter in the sky. So let's do that. Maybe sort of pastel-y colours is what I want to go for. Not quite as maybe vivid as this. I suppose this is blending, I suppose. So maybe keep it more sort of blue over that side. It's looking better. And if this is in shadow here, maybe there's a bit of a haze that I don't really need a lot in the way of detail there. I can lose and just maybe sort of paint it as solid shapes. That might work. That's how I would do it in watercolor. Just connect all that up. So I've got a sense of distance there. So the brush. So this is all dark over this side. Let's go for getting some Viridian in there. I've got some turquoise as well. Let's try that. Nice. We've also got a tree coming over here as well. So bring that turquoise down into there. So I think this will be better painted as a flat shape. and a little bit lighter area there maybe. Let's go lighter on the top there, just as that light is maybe just coming through here slightly. And if I make this one sort of flat shape, if I bring this tree over, it'll bring it in front of it slightly. Just suggest a few little darks in there, but that's looking okay. So more of that turquoise, I think, down here. Quite like that turquoise. That's nice. There's maybe shadows and a bit of light pouring across here. Maybe that might be quite a nice idea. And I quite often, in oils and watercolor, just start painting, and see where it takes you. Just have a go. Just, nothing is set in stone. You can always change your mind if something's not working. So there's that little bit of light just coming across there. Don't make too much of it. So let's work on the water area a little bit. It's, I think good to get some darks in. So it's just blue and the red, maybe. No idea which blue and red that was. And to be fair, it doesn't really matter. Let's just add a little bit of green into there. I haven't put any earth colors on my palette. I want to just keep it very colorful. So I need these darks because the darks are what will make it nice and light. And I've got an option to either go for soft reflections or maybe just suggest a bit of flow in the river, which I think probably would be a good idea because it's all very soft here. So maybe get some texture in here. But in the reference, there's all sorts of stuff gathering up on the water here. The blossom and so on that's fallen out of the trees, I'm guessing. Okay. We'll try that. And I can always maybe soften it afterwards to create an effect if need be. More of that viridian here. Let's go dark down here. Let's concentrate the light here. And I always look for connection, in my paintings, that I want to connect these reflections to the trees here. I'm quite thick with the paint there. And I noticed that the Impressionists, they certainly used directional brush marks to their advantage. You can suggest the flow of the river. Dark up here. So I'm starting to be a little bit braver now that I've kind of got an idea where it's going. I just don't want it to be as bright and colourful as this. It's a little bit painful on the eye at the moment, so we can hopefully sort that out. There's the trees. Maybe try and get some interesting tree shapes. So perhaps put these darks in, and then I'll come over with some light because this is where the light is hitting on here. I may get green. I have a green painting, but as long as it's perhaps got some colour in it, maybe that'd be okay. I'll roll that brush around, create a little bit of suggestion of trees. Working quite well. If it works, I do it. More light on the water. now the canvas is covered, I can start to use, some thicker paint, and go for, final marks that, because I can go round and round in circles otherwise. That at some point you've got to say, I'm not going to work on that area anymore. That's now done. And same in here. So this is where I can, confidently use thick paint, because it'll force me to not work over this area again, because it will end up a mess once you get this sort of thickness of paint on. So at some point you just got to be brave and say, that is my mark for this painting there. Now I've got the composition. The composition is looking okay, so there's nothing wrong with the photo. The composition's nice. Just a lot of green in there. So I thought I could improve on that. So we can, light is coming through here. Nice light against dark there. Always take some of that away. And these are kind of the marks the Impressionists, did. Very brave. Pull some of that through here. And I don't normally paint like this, and I probably won't always paint like this, but some of this I will keep and use in my own painting techniques. And that's what these kind of, although this isn't actually a master study, but one could argue it is, because I've looked at some Monet stuff and other Impressionists of the area. That it's not just Monet. There were lots of Impressionist painters. So he's the most famous one. But they all had their own sort of take on it. That's that light just bursting through those trees there off in the distance. Pinky colour that I've got here. So lay that on. I'm going for less sort of smooth marks there, maybe. And just pull that through the trees there a little bit. It's got a feel of atmosphere there now, I think. But some of that in the water here as well. So in the reference picture, there is a lot of light on the water here. So that's, true to life. So we'll go with that. And maybe just a little bit of blending on here, just to create a smooth texture that could be water. Blue down here. So just to let me know in the comments what you think. That is it just a bit too bright and colourful at the moment? That maybe I need to steer it towards a particular colour theme, maybe. That I suppose I've got a lot of blues, pinks, and greens. So maybe that could be the colour theme: blue, green, and pink, maybe. That blue and green are quite close to each other on the colour wheel, so they'll create harmony. And maybe the pinks with maybe just a touch of orange somewhere, maybe could work. Let's put some of that cool colours over here as well. Obviously, there's some areas that are in shadow. It's just, I saw that that they were doing this. The Impressionists. They were laying cool colours on top of warm colours, and just seeing what kind of effects you could get. And I suspect a lot of it was experimental, that sometimes it was wonderful, sometimes it wasn't. But that's what painting is all about, experimenting. This will give me more sort of pastel-y look to it. Maybe a more sort of look that it's the sun has gone down now and it's just before it's going to go dark, but you get that kind of wonderful light. So I'll keep my darks over here. We want to unify the painting, so let's pull some of that over here as well. That's a good idea to step back from it occasionally and have a look at we're half an hour into it. Let's have a go at putting this tree here maybe, and see where that takes us. So I've got a rigger here, we'll try that, nice dark. So we'll take it off the canvas. And there's a tree there. There's another one that comes up here. They kind of intertwine around each other. Also, there's a lot of paint here, so got to be careful it doesn't just all end up a milky mess. So reload that brush. It goes off the page. So let's get some darks up here. But this is just going to have to lay the paint on because I don't want to pick up that white too much. So I'm using this rigger, just trying that to see what kind of mark that will give. It's always a good to experiment with different brushes, see what you can achieve with that brush, and then switch to another brush and you'll get a different mark. This is adding connection, this tree to the trees off in the distance there. I just need to make sure that those trunks are visible to a certain degree. So it's all very soft, but we've got that hard bit of detail here. Okay, let's go for some of that sap green. Let's get some green into there. Didn't see many blue trees in the Creuse. Sometimes you do see blue in the trees, that certain lights, the coolness. And so some of that blue coming through will be good. And quite often you do that. You're painting, and you end up painting over a lot of what you've just done, but just a little bit of it still shows through, and just those little touches that can be enough just to really make quite a magical scene. Rolling that brush about. Some of those marks I made will stay, but some of them will go. Go more solid here. Let's see what sort of dark I can make. I mix all the primary colours together. So yellow, blue, and some of that violet maybe. That'll give me a nice dark. And mixing with that green. Brush on its side. Next all of that up. Let these darks up. Dark at the base of the tree. Dark there. And painting quickly can help, to loosen your brush marks up and so on. Just a few little stronger marks, light against dark. Enough to suggest that that's a bit of a detail. Maybe a dark in there, real dark against the light off in the distance there. Dark in there. So I'm looking at my reference pictures, looking at where I see the dark shapes, and that's what I'm painting, just shapes. And it's becoming a little bit less rainbow looking now, more kind of realistic. That maybe it obviously not a photorealistic painting, but maybe on those rare occasions when the light is just about right, it can look like this maybe. I'd like that turquoise. Let's come in here with that turquoise, and that's quite nice. Just drag that brush across. Again, just trying something. This is just, I suppose you call that dry brush, where it's just laying the paint down over the raised points in the canvas. You've got to be careful, you're not just putting colour for the sake of it. This is a very sort of cool bluey green, so that would be appearing in these shadow areas. Maybe just suggest a little bit of detail that could be a tree. So I'm not painting individual leaves and branches and so on. Right, do I have a go at blending? Let's just try it, see what happens. What if I was to just maybe blend some of this? Would it be a mess? So I'm wiping the brush off every time I do that. I'm using downward strokes. Probably prefer the maybe a combination of the two. Just be so careful doing that. I don't think Monet did stuff like that. But he prized himself in those kind of marks where the paint is laid on. But I'm going to try a combination of the two. At least some of that to shine through. I did put some cerulean blue out. Let's maybe try some of that more darker blue down here, maybe. So quite thick paint I've got here that I'm not worried if this painting takes a year to dry. I'm more worried about just creating something spontaneous. So let's go for trying to use up most of this paint. I don't think I'm going to be able to use all of it up, but got a feel of water on here now, so that's quite good. I quite like the effect. Put some of that across, maybe smaller marks as it disappears off into around the corner there, the creuse. Use the side of the brush just to give that illusion of the grass area. But this was before they came and cut the grass. You use your brush on this side, use it strokes on its side, and just use these kind of paintings where you're just really playing about, messing about, to experiment, try different things. There's a nice bit of light coming through that tree there. It just appears throughout here. That green looks okay. Quite happy with that. Quite like that green. Do I like that green? Let's just try it. What have we got to lose? At some point, you've got to stop. Once you get to the point where are you actually making it any better, or is it just ending up a mess? So we can react maybe to these lights areas here that obviously they're going to have reflections in the water. Maybe it's more orangey over this side. So I'm reacting now to the colours in the actual reference, which is a bit dodgy because I've kind of went away from that and now I'm coming back to it. These are just reflections in there. The light is just still just coming through these trees here, just about. So thinking about it tonally now, that I think there's some lighter tones in here, just perhaps as the light is turning away from the trees here, so it's darker here, but there is definitely a lighter tone here. So maybe that will give a little bit of structure to these trees. Again, I can put that in the water. Starting to feel more like an impressionistic painting now. I can start to maybe put a bit of detail on the tops of these trees. When I say detail, literally just a roll of the brush. Just create that illusion of a tree. Get some of that blue in the distance there to be a little bit more vibrant. So that Windsor blue green shade, touch of white, and just lay that paint on. There we go. A little bit brighter. That's the real distant trees off in the distance there. Maybe we'll have a little bit coming through those trees, and I think the cool blue just appearing throughout the painting, I think it will just help to unify it a little bit. Just a few touches of blue like that. That's nice. Perhaps maybe to let the eye travel around the painting. Let's go really light with that blue, and just take inspiration from the reference where there's just a bit of light showing here. And again, that maybe will help to lead us into the painting, to think about finishing the painting soon, because if I have to start thinking about what to do next, it probably is finished. Nice and dark there. Make more of that. Move that picture out of the way. I'm kind of past needing that reference picture now. I'm just painting instinctively, really. few darks in there. A little bit darker down there. So quite like that bit of light coming through there. Quite nice. Looks okay. So could probably go a little bit darker over this side. Go back to the Impressionist style marks. So I've got some of those blended downstrokes still in there somewhere, so that is working. But the plan was to be a tribute to the Impressionists, so let's do that. Real dark under there. And you know, these darks will make it a powerful painting, you know, with the contrast, you know, the lights and the darks. But if I just lay the paint on, you know, I won't hopefully end up with a mess. And so I'll put a photograph on Patreon, which will show the textures on here. There's a lot of texture now on this canvas, which is what I wanted. And I think it's good to try and connect these darks up. And just connect them up, add connection through the painting. Some dark in here. And it looks a mess up close, but you know, step back from it and it should hopefully have that impressionistic look to it. Being a little bit braver and darker under these trees here. So, coming to the end of the painting now. So, thanks for watching live, those of you who watched it live, and I appreciate those of you who've watched it on the replay. I think, other than maybe just that overhanging tree there, we'll call that a day, I think. So we need to go fairly dark with it. So perhaps use a bit of that Viridian, bit of red. Really load that brush up. This is a little fan brush. So, yeah. So that's going to have a reflection under that branch there as well. And maybe just a few light, dark against light. So I think we'll call that done. That you know, I could just keep going and end up going round in circles. So there you go. Hit the like and the subscribe. That I shall go and pop it on the gallery wall, see if I can find a frame for it. So there we go. I was getting worried at one point during the painting process where it was going, but it ended up to be okay. Certainly it's very colourful, but it does have a feel of impressionism about it. You know, some of these brush work here that you know, I can see where Monet was going with his work a little bit. That you know, obviously I'm no Monet, but I can certainly learn from studying some of his work. And going outdoors and painting, you know, it forces you to paint loose like this, which you can take that into the studio as you've just seen here. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.